This conference will now be recorded.
So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the test classes. So how to prepare the test classes for our business logic class, for the triggers, and the batch classes we have discussed already. And now today we'll see how can we prepare the test classes for your future methods, for the global interface, global apex class, and for your invocable methods. And then we'll see how to prepare the test classes for your user force controller classes. We'll see practically. So already we have prepared a class which contains the future methods. So let me go with that class. We have a class with the name common helper. Inside this class, we have prepared a method called as do DML operations method. So now this method is going to be performing some DML operations where it is performing the DML operations on both setup objects and non-setup objects within a single transaction. So whenever we are trying to be performing the DML operations on both setup and non-setup objects within a single transaction, Salesforce is going to be raising an exception, mixed DML operation exception. We can't perform the DML operations on both setup objects and non-setup objects within a single transaction. We have to make it split. We have to make it segregated to the two different transactions so that we have used the help of future methods. So we have created a future method. Inside this future method, we are going to be performing the operations on our non-setup objects. And these future methods are always executing by placing inside the Apex queue. These are not executing within my organization. These are executing by placing inside the Apex queue so that it is going to be executing outside of the organization, and then this particular DML statement will be executing within my organization so that both are running in two different transactions internally by default, so that we can able to avoid the mixed DML operation exception. So for this one, I would like to prepare a test class now. So I think yesterday we have prepared this test class also. Let me go with the test class. Yesterday we have prepared this test class. What is the service name that we have prepared? We have prepared a class tested common helper. test common helper. So now this is the test class which we have prepared in the last session. Now, so now inside this, I am going to be invoking this method. We have prepared a test class with the name test common helper, and then through this test class, I would like to test my future methods also. So currently, for my future method class, I'm having the code coverage as 0%. Okay, it is having the code coverage as 0%. Now, so I would like to test this one. So that here, when you go to this common helper class, if I'm invoking this do DML operations, automatically it is going to be internally invoking this create HR record. Nothing but the create HR record method also will be getting invoked automatically. So that it is going to be testing both the methods. Now, so let me invoke this test class. There is the test class here. I'm invoking that method common helper dot do DML operations. Common helper dot do DML operations. So now this is the method which I'm going to be invoking, so that this method internally invoke my future method also, so that it will be testing both the functionalities. Now, so let me run this test class. Click on this run this test class. Now, run this test class. Run this test class. So now let's verify the code coverage for this. Refresh this user interface. Now it is indicating that the code coverage for my future method class is 100%. Nothing but both the methods has been tested perfectly, so that it is indicating that 100% code coverage is available for this. So inside this class, I am going to be invoking this method, and then this method is going to be deactivating the user record by using this particular field value. Based on this username, it is deactivating this user internally, and then it is going to be creating the HR record also. So both the methods have been tested automatically, so that here it is indicating that code coverage has 100%. Now, so let me verify my overall organization's code coverage now. Estimate your organization's code coverage now. Now it is indicating 9% of code coverage. So let me place this code.
కొనుక్కొచ్చుకున్నాను 25 రూపాయలు అంటాను ఒక మాస్క్ ఇంత మంచిగా
So now let's say one more functionality. For example, I'm having a Qubel Apex. Already we have prepared the Qubel interface classes. Qubel Apex functionality. Let me go to that Qubel Apex functionality. I'm looking for that class only. Let me search Qubel. So we have two classes are available: hiring manager Qubel and then positions Qubel. Two classes are available. Let me open both the classes: hiring manager Qubel, and then second one is the position Qubel. Positions Qubel. These are the two classes are available. So now, as part of this Qubel interface class, we have two classes are available: hiring manager Qubel class and then positions Qubel class. So as part of this Qubble interface is an enhanced feature, or it's an additional feature when compared with the future methods. For the future methods, we are having few drawbacks are available because future method doesn't support to pass the subject type of parameters, and the one future method cannot be invocable from another future method, and the future method doesn't provide any tracking mechanism through programming. These are few drawbacks are available as part of your future methods. To overcome those drawbacks of future methods, we have implemented the Qubble interface, so that this Qubble interface is going to be avoiding all the drawbacks of your future methods. So now, because the Qubble interface will allow you to overcome all the drawbacks, like Qubble interface will allow you to pass the subject type of parameters also. It is supporting the subject type of parameters, and then Qubble interface is going to be providing the tracking mechanism also. It is providing the tracking mechanism also, so that we can able to track the result of each and every Qubble class through programming. Why? Because is whenever I'm pushing this Qubble class into my Apex Cube by using that system.enqueue job, it will be returning the ID of that job. Whenever we are placing any job inside that queue, the queue will generate one ID. That ID will be returned to you. Once you are getting that ID, based on that ID, we can able to track the result of this class through by using this async Apex job object. By making a query to the async Apex job object, we can able to track the result of or the status of that respective job also. That facility is available. So tracking mechanism is available as part of this Qubble interface. And the two Qubble interface will be allowing the chaining process. Chaining mechanism is available. So what do you mean by a chaining process? One Qubble class can invoke from another Qubble class also. That facility is available. One Qubble class can invoke another Qubble class also. So because of that facility, we are going to be using the Qubble interfaces. These are the three benefits are available as part of this Qubble interface. We can able to pass the subject type of parameters. Second one is chaining process is also available. Third one is tracking mechanism is also available. So all the drawbacks of future methods will be getting overcome with the help of this Qubble. So we have created two Qubble classes. One is hiring manager Qubble. Second one is positions Qubble. So my requirement is, as soon as whenever I'm creating the hiring manager record, immediately I want to create a related position also. So that here what we did, we have created two Qubble classes, hiring manager Qubble class, which will be creating the hiring manager record, and the position Qubble class, which is preparing the position record. Now, so initially we are invoking that hiring manager Qubble class, which will be creating one hiring manager record with the required details. Once the hiring manager record has been getting created, then immediately it is invoking the positions Qubble class. Also nothing but chaining process. Upon invoking this positions Qubble, it is going to passing the hiring manager record also, so that we can pass a subject type of parameter. Now the position Qubble receive the hiring manager record. Based on that hiring manager, it is creating the related position record also. This is a functionality which we have implemented over here. Now, then how to prepare the test class? Okay, for this Qubble classes. Now let's see. In this case, what happened? These two are chaining process. So if you are invoking this first one, automatically second one also will be getting invoked. Okay, if you are invoking the first one, automatically second one also will be getting invoked automatically by default here. Now, then how can we do this? Now let's see practically. Now, so that in this case, this is the hiring manager Qubble class. So create the object of this class and then access this method execute. Okay, invoke this execute method over here. That's it. So it will be invoking automatically. It will create the record and automatically it is going to be invoking the positions Qubble also by default. Now let's see. Let's see how can we prepare the test classes over here. Now I'm preparing a test class for this. Hiring manager Qubble test. Now, I'm making this class as a test class by using that is a test. I'm preparing a test method. I'm preparing a test method inside this. Test viewable classes. Test viewable classes. So now I have prepared one testing method. Inside this testing method, we have to invoke the viewable classes. So which class we need to invoke? Because these two are chaining. So now initially hiring manager viewable class, it will be invoking automatically. Internally, it will be invoking the positions viewable also. So that just you can able to invoke this hiring manager viewable. Automatically, the positions viewable also will be invoking automatically for you. Now. So now both the classes code coverage is 0%. This is also 0% and this is also 0%. So now let's see in this case, how can we do this? Now invoke this hiring manager viewable class. Now in this case, create the object here. Hiring manager viewable. HR viewable equals to new hiring manager viewable. And then invoke this method here. HR viewable dot execute. Pass a value. I'm passing this value. So now HR viewable dot execute. Invoke this execute method. So automatically this execute method will be getting invoked, and then which is going to be inserting this hiring manager record. And then once the hiring manager record has been getting inserted, it will invoke the positions viewable class, and then it is creating one position record also, which is associated with the hiring manager. Now, so that here I am going to be invoking this execute method by passing the value. Okay. Let's see how can we invoke this test class. So let's go to your Apex execution. Go to the Apex test execution. Select the test class. I'm going to be using this hiring manager, okay, viewable test. Okay, hiring manager, viewable test. Now run this. Run the test class. Now the test class is running right now. It is in processing state. Now my test class has been passed. Now my test class has been passed. Let's go to these two classes here. Now refresh this user interface. We have 100% of code coverage for the hiring manager viewable. And then refresh this user interface. We have 100% code coverage for this positions viewable also. So both the classes are having 100% code coverage. Okay. Now, so now let's go to my organization's code coverage right. Estimate your organization's code coverage. Now it is 13%. Previously 9%. Now it is 13%. This is the way we are going to be invoking this viewable classes. If there is any chaining classes are available, just invoke the parent. Automatically it will invoke the second one. That means the chaining class also automatically will be. Let me place this. Place a use case. Prepare the test class for the viewable classes. For viewable classes. I'm indicating this.
There was one question.
Yes.
Like previously, when we created test classes, we need to create the record inside the test class. So in this time, why we didn't create it?
Why? Because is here we are not querying any data. Whenever if you are having any SQL queries inside that actual business logic class, then we have to create some records. But here we don't have any SQL queries inside these classes. They are creating the records here, so it will execute automatically. Here we don't have any SQL queries. If there is an SQL queries are there, then we need to prepare some test data inside our test class.
Okay.
Okay.
So one question.
Yes.
While testing the viewable class, is it running in the Apex queue or it is running in the local organization?
within the organization. Within the organization, because testing classes are always executing within the organization. That's what your testing classes, you can make it as private also. Okay.
Sir, here can't we create another class and call system.nq of hiring manager queuable class?
No, no, not required. No need to create another class.
Here we are passing null value and execute parameter. Can't it affect anything?
Sorry?
Here we are passing null as parameter, right? Context value.
Yes, right.
Can we not
Because
invoke system.nq the job?
No need to push here, because here if we want to execute that business logic by placing inside that Apex queue, then we have to push that class. But here this is testing our testing class. That's it. It's a unit testing which will be executing within our organization. So that we no need to push into that NQ. Okay, no need to use that NQ method over there. Now, next one. So now we'll see one more business logic, and then we'll see how to prepare the testing class for that. So previously, we have prepared the invocable methods, which will be used to create some related records, also to invoke some business logics inside this. Now, so how to prepare the testing class for your invocable method? And now let's see practically in this case. Now, so how can we do that? We'll see practically in this case. Now let's go with that invocable method. We have prepared the invocable method for some of the classes. Let me go with that. What are those class names? So now this is the class of accounts a share handler. So this is a class, okay? This is a class for which we have prepared, which we have invoked from for insert method. Through trigger we have invoked this, and then let me verify the invocable method. So we have prepared this invocable method also. Accounts a share handler. accounts share handler. So this is a class, okay, which contains a method called as after insert, which is going to be collecting a collection of account records, which is collecting a collection of account records, and based on those account records, it is going to be indicating. Based on this collection of account records, it is going to be inserting the records into that respective object. Now, so now here, this is one of the invocable method which we have prepared. So as soon as whenever I'm going to be creating the record, okay, as soon as whenever I'm going to be creating this account record, then automatically this method will be getting invoked, and then this method is going to sharing the record to the respective user which has selected. Like for example, whenever I'm going to be creating an account record, upon creating this account record, so whatever the user which has selected, okay, whatever the user which has selected, to this user it is going to be sharing the record automatically. So for that reason, we have implemented this queue invocable method, which will be invoking from the process builder. In order to invoke the method from the process builder, we are using the help of an annotation called as @invocable method annotation, which is going to be invoking automatically from the process builder, which will be sharing this record to the respective user which we have selected. Upon sharing the record, it will be granting the required level of access, where if the account record's annual revenue value is greater than 50 lakhs, it is granting the edit permission on that record, that means read write. If the account record's annual revenue value is less than 50 lakhs, it will be granting only read only permission on that particular record to the user. So that we are sharing the record to the users through programmatically by using this account to share class. Now, in this case, how can we prepare the test class for this one? So whenever we are preparing the test class for this one, okay, we have to invoke this method. But upon invoking this method, we have to pass some account records also. So we have to prepare some account records, and those account records we have to pass to this method. Then how can we do the test class? How can we prepare the test class for this invocable method where we can able to pass some account records? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, so let's see how can we prepare the test class for this invocable method, that is after insert inside a class called as accounts share handler class. Now, let's see that how can we implement this. Let me take a small use case. Prepare the test class to test the Apex sharing process by using invocable method. So let me place that code. Invocable method code. I'm placing this actual class code which we have, which will be invoking from the process builder. Now, how to prepare the test class? Now let's see practically in this case. So let's prepare the test class for this. So now here I'm going to preparing the class. So accounts share handler test. I'm preparing the test class over here. I'm making this class as private @test. I'm preparing the test class right now. Now inside this, I'm preparing a test method. Static test method y test account share process. I'm preparing a test method. Now inside this testing method, we are going to be testing that process. How can we test? We have to call that method and we have to pass the parameters for this test class method. So this is the method. So now accounts share handler. This is the static method. Call this a method that is after insert by using accounts share handler dot after insert, but we have to pass some list of account records. How to prepare this list of account records? Because it is expecting some records. So we need to prepare those records and we need to supply those records to this particular method. So for that one, I'm preparing some records. Create the bulk records. Or else here directly we can able to prepare this one also inside a separate test method also. Inside a separate method also we can able to write the code to insert this account records also. That facility will be available to you inside this. Now, for example, I'm preparing this. Write the code to insert bulk accounts. I'm preparing this collection, list of account, because it is expecting a list collection, not only one single record. It is expecting a list collection. You can store one record also in the collection, no problem for me. LST accounts equals to new list of account. I'm going to preparing some collection of account records. I'm preparing that by using integer counter equals to 1, counter less than or equals to some 50, counter plus. I'm preparing the account. Account sum is equals to new account. I would like to pass the value for the required fields. ACC dot name field. I'm indicating the test account hyphen counter. ACC dot rating. I'm indicating hard. ACC dot annual revenue. I'm indicating some 57 lakhs. ACC dot industry. I'm indicating some banking. ACC dot phone. I'm indicating some value. ACC dot fax. I'm indicating some value. ACC dot website. I'm passing the value. ACC dot type. I'm indicating the value. And ACC dot, we are having the value active status. I'm indicating yes. ACC dot, I'm indicating the value customer priority equals to high. ACC dot ownership. I'm indicating the value like as a public. And then I'm adding this record to my collection. I'm adding this list accounts dot add of ACC. So once the records have been getting added to the collection, then we can able to invoke that method. Whatever the account records that we have prepared, these account records we can able to supply to that method. Once account records has been getting added, now I would like to insert. I would like to verify if the collection is not empty. If it is not empty, then I would like to insert LST accounts. Once the account records has been getting inserted, we can pass. Or else directly we can able to pass this list of records also. So sorry, after inserting the record, we have to pass this record. Supply the record to the method. These are the records which I would like to test it over. I want to test these records right now. Then how can we test these records? For that one, invoke that method. Just a minute. Wait. Now, so I would like to invoke this method. I'm going to be invoking this system dot after insert. I'm passing this list of account records. Okay, I'm passing this list of records. Let's see how can we do this one here. So how much code coverage will be available? What additional values we need to be supplied? We'll see practically. Now, I'm preparing some 50 records here. Now, these 50 records I'm going to be passing to my method, so that this method is going to be collecting all these 50 records it has to share. But upon sharing this record, here we have some condition. So now if the annual revenue is greater than or equals to some 50 lakhs, then it is granting edit permission. If it is less than 50 lakhs, it is granting some read permission over. Okay, it is granting edit permission and the read permission over here. Now, so in this case, what we can do now, instead of taking this many number of records, let me take some 5 records. From this one of 5, what I want to do is, for few records, I want to indicate that annual revenue more than 50 lakhs, and for few records, I would like to make that annual revenue less than 50 lakhs. Why? Because we can cover both the functionality testing over here. This condition also we can test. This condition also we can test. For that reason, I'm indicating this. If the annual revenue, okay, if the counter value is greater than or equals to 3, for those records, I would like to assign the value as 57,000. Else, I'm indicating ACC dot annual revenue equals to 44 lakhs. Let's see. That means I would like to cover both. Okay, I would like to cover both. If I'm not adding this condition for all the records, this value will be 57 lakhs only, so that it will be covering only this particular condition to be get tested. This condition will not be tested over there. For that one, to test both the conditions, I would like to make some of the records having that annual revenue value like as 57, that means more than 50 lakhs, and few records will be having the value less than 50 lakhs also. So now this is the condition I have verified. Now, one more thing. Whenever if you want to share the record, we have to pass one user, right? Yes. Without this user, how can we test it over? Without the user, how can we test it? So we have to create a user record also. Okay, we have to create a user record. We have to supply that user value also. That means to which user you would like to test. To which user you would like to share the record. We have to indicate that user ID also inside. For that one, I would like to prepare a method in order to create the user record. To create the user record, I'm going to preparing it. I'm preparing that method. A function public ID create a user record. Create user record. So I'm preparing a function. Now this function is going to be creating one user record, and then it is going to be returning that user record. Then it is going to be returning that user record. So now here, how can we create that user record? Here now let's see. Whenever we are going to be creating the user record, we have to pass the required fields information. Okay, we have to pass the required fields information. Like we have to pass the first name of the user, last name of the user, and then alias name also we have to supply, username, email ID, company, and then we have to specify the time zone also, and then language key also we have to supply this values, and along with the profile also. Nothing but to which profile you would like to assign this user. We have to pass all this information, because upon creating the user record, profile is a mandatory field. So collect any one of the profile ID from your Salesforce instance, and we can able to pass. Now, here I'm writing the code. Write the code to insert a new user. Now, so in this case, I'm going to be creating a new user record. User, some test user. Some test user equals to new user. Test user equals to new user. So now here in this case, we can able to pass the values. Test user dot profile ID. Profile ID equals to collect any one of the profile information above. Select the ID from the profile object where name equals to, I'm giving my profile name, like as the system administrator. System administrator, but it is returning the complete profile record, but I don't want the complete profile record. I want to get only the ID. I'm collecting the ID value. I'm passing inside this. Test the user dot profile ID. So here I'm going to passing the ID of the profile. I'm collecting the ID of the system administrator profile. That ID I'm passing to my profile ID. Next, we need to pass the remaining field values. First name and the last name also we have to supply, but the first name is not mandatory, but the last name is mandatory over there. So now we can specify. Test user dot first name. I'm indicating sample. Test user dot last name. I'm indicating that name as some test user. Test user dot, we need to indicate the email ID. We need to indicate the email ID. I'm using test user at the rate some test.com. Test user dot username. Username. I'm going to be indicating the username over here. So I would like to specify test user at the rate test.com, and then along with that we need to pass that some random value. Why? Because here with these details might be some user record may be available, so that we need to pass some random value which we can able to generate. So that I'm using that system dot, I'm using that current time in millis, nothing but current time we can able to take in milliseconds, we can able to supply, because the time will be keep on different. Suppose if another person is creating one user for the testing purpose, then at that time, now that time will be having some different, that milliseconds also will be getting changed. So I'm collecting this random value, and this random value I'm adding to my this particular the username, so that we can make this username as different, because we need to make that username should be unique from across all the region servers. And I'm passing that test user dot company name. I'm using the test user dot, I'm indicating the title user test user. Test user dot, we need to specify, okay, we need to specify the alias equals to test. I'm indicating the test alias. Test user dot, we have to specify the time zone seed key. Time zone seed key. We have to specify the time zone. I'm going to be indicating this a time zone over here. America / Los Angeles. Now, next, because we have to specify the time zone, which time zone this user is available, and then we have to specify the email encoding key. We have to specify that UTF-8. And then test user dot, we need to specify the language local key. Language local key. Now here I am indicating that English US. Test user dot, we have to specify the local seed key. So now here we are indicating that English US. Language also. And then we are going to be inserting this user record. Insert test user. Once the record has been getting inserted, we need to return that. Return test user. That once the user record has been getting created, that user records ID I would like to return. Now this user record ID I am going to be collecting through this function. Now this user record ID I would like to pass inside this particular parameter here. We have a field SEC dot share record to share record to user field. Here I am going to be calling this. What is my method name? Create user record. create user record, it is going to be creating the user and it is going to pass in that value. So it will be holding the user record ID inside this. So now here in this place, I'm going to be calling this method. Now the method is going to be generating, creating a user. That user record ID will be placing inside my share record to user. So to prepare this user record, okay, through programming, we are going to passing the profile ID and the first name of the user, last name of the user, email ID, username, company name, title, alias, time zone value, email encoding value, language locale, and then this is the language and this is the locale information. Generally here we are not passing in the user interface. This will be most of the values will be setting the Salesforce automatically. But here upon creating the user record, we have to pass these values also. Okay. Now, because here upon sharing this record to the people, we need that user. To which user we need to share. For that one, we are creating the user record here by using this user class. Once a user record has been getting created, pass this user ID inside this particular field, okay, to which you would like to share that record. So it will be sharing the record based on this annual revenue. If the annual revenue is more than 50 lakhs, it will be sharing the record to this user with the read-write access. If the record's annual revenue value is less than 50 lakhs, it is sharing the record to this user with the read-only access. So we can able to test this functionality also inside this. This is the way we are going to preparing the test class, okay, for your Apex sharing mechanism, which is in invocable method. We can invoke that method by using trigger also or process builder also, whatever. I'm not bothered about that. But here we are going to be testing this functionality right now. So now what exactly the code coverage right now for this class? Accounts share handler class. This accounts share handler class is currently having the code coverage as 0%. Okay, 0%. Now, so now let me invoke this method. Let me test this test class. Go to the Apex test execution. Go to the Apex test execution. Select the test class. I have the test class with the name, okay, accounts share handler test. Now click on run. Now my test class is running right now. Now here it is indicating test class has been passed, failed. Let's verify what is the problem in this case. What is the problem in this one? Now it is indicating list has no rows for assignment to yes object. Create user record at line 48 in the column 1. At line 48, column 1, profile ID. So here there is a mistake. Nothing but here upon creating the user record, we need to assign the profile right, but I have given that profile name as wrong. Okay, so there is the administrator. Now let's see. Now run this test class again. Select that test class. Okay, accounts share handler test. Run the test class now. This is in queue. Now this symbol is indicating this is in queue right now. Once the server is available, it is executing that. Now the test class has been passed. So let's refresh this user interface. Now it is indicating we are having that 100% of code coverage for this class. Accounts share handler class is having that 100% of code coverage for this. So each and every functionality we have tested. Now let's verify this one. When you go to this test, here we can able to see accounts share handler class. Each and every functionality we have tested. So now both the method, this condition also we have tested, this condition also we have tested. So it is indicating here. Suppose if this condition is not tested, you will be getting some less code coverage over there. Okay, less code coverage. So now here we have prepared the records, and each and every line of code has been tested perfectly inside this class over here. Okay, so we got that 100% of code coverage inside my class. Okay, accounts is share hand. Now, so now let's see what is the code coverage right now, overall code coverage. Estimate your code coverage. Now we are having 16%. Previously we have 13. Now we are having 16% of code coverage. Now, like let me place this code. Okay. So this is the way we are going to preparing the test classes over here. Okay, for your controller classes or the business logic class, whatever we have prepared, we are preparing the test classes over here. Now, next one. So let me show you how to prepare the test class for your Visualforce controller class. For your Visualforce controller class, how to prepare the test class, let me show you practically. For example, let me create a Visualforce page inside this. Six pages are available. What are those 6 Visualforce pages? Let me verify. So let me collect some code for the Visualforce from the previous batch. Let me design 2 Visualforce pages, then I will show you how to implement. I would like to prepare the Visualforce page to represent all the account records inside my page in the table or format. Now, so let me show you how to prepare the test class for that one as well. I'm creating a Visualforce page. I'm creating a Visualforce page, Apex. Show account records page. I'm preparing the controller class also inside this. For the 7 o'clock, we are not yet done with the Visualforce. Okay, so just I'm showing that here. Let me prepare this one. So we'll see the concept as well. Forget about this creation concept over here. We'll see that part as well. I will show you practically during the Visualforce concept from tomorrow onwards. I'm placing this business logic class also. So now this is my Visualforce page is available over here. where my Visual Force page is going to be collecting all the account records. So whatever the account records are available inside my object, all the account records it will collect, and those records will be representing in the form of table or format. And along with that, it is giving that count also. It is giving that count also. So now this is the page which we have designed here. And then this is the business logic class. This is the controller class, and this is your Visual Force user interface code. This is the user interface part code to represent the data in the tabular format, and this is the business logic class which I have prepared in order to collect the data. So inside this class, I have prepared a constructor. This constructor will be executing automatically whenever the page is getting loaded, and then it will be executing an SQL query, collect the data from the object, and those records will be representing in the tabular format by using a tag called as page block table tag. Okay, page block table tag. Okay, now. So now here this is the business logic class that we have. For this one, how to prepare the test class? Now let me explain. This is one Visual Force page. So let me place this code inside my notepad, and then let me show you how to prepare the test class for this. So now let me verify what is my class name. Show accounts records controller. This is the class. Show account records controller. This is a business logic class. Currently, the code coverage is 0%. I want to prepare. Okay, I want to prepare the test class for this controller class. How to prepare the test class for this controller class? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, let's see. So now let me take the use case. Prepare a test class for the below Visual Force controller. How to prepare the test class for the Visual Force controller class? Now let's see. I'm placing that Visual Force page code and the controller class also. Let me place this code. This is the controller class and the Visual Force page code also. I'm placing this. Now, so in this case here, observe this one. How to prepare this test class? So what needs to be done? What this particular class is doing here? This class is going to be collecting the account records from the object. So if it has to collect the record, first of all, record should be there, right? Yes. We need to prepare the records first. Okay. We need to insert the records. Then we have to invoke this particular class. How to invoke this class? It is executing default constructor. When the default constructor will be getting executed, upon creating the object of this class, automatically default constructor will be getting executed for you. So that's a simple concept. Now, so in this case, how can we do that? Let me show you practically. Let me prepare a test class for this. I'm creating a test class. Show account records controller test. I'm making this class as private. I want to make this class as a test class. For that one, I'm using @is_test. Now prepare the test method. Static test method void test accounts controller. Test accounts controller. Then what needs to be done? First of all, we have to create the records inside your account object. Then only we can able to invoke this. Now, to create those account records, I'm going to preparing a separate method. Public static void create accounts. I'm preparing the business logic here. I would like to create some account records. Already we have prepared some test class here. In the test class previously, just now we have prepared some account records also. Let me take that same code. So now I'm preparing some bulk account records over here. Like some 50 records, less than or equals to some 50. So now I'm preparing some bulk account records inside my account object. Where I don't want to share to anybody over here, just I'm going to replicate. I'm passing the values for this particular records. So I'm inserting some collection of records. How many? Some 50 records I'm inserting into my account object. Like just account 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, up to 50 records I'm going to be inserting inside my object. So now here to create this account records, I'm going to be calling this. I would like to call this method. So automatically this method is going to be inserting the records. Create the account records. For this one, I'm calling this method and then invoke that. Then invoke the controller class. Invoke the controller class. Once the records are available, then I need to invoke this controller class. So this controller class is going to be collecting the data here, collecting the account records from this object, and then it is representing on my Visualforce page. For that one, it is querying the data over here. So now it is querying the data from my object over here, so that we are ready with that account records already. We have prepared that account records also inside this. Now I would like to invoke this one. How to invoke this one? This is the constructor. How the constructor will be getting invoked? Just by creating the object, automatically constructor will be getting invoked over here. Show account records controller. Now ACC controller equals to new show account records. That's it over there. So that here we are going to be preparing the record, because this controller class is going to be collecting the records from the object. So to collect the record, first of all, we have to prepare the test data, right? So for that one, to prepare the test data, I'm preparing a method, create account records, and then this method is going to be creating some 50 records inside my object. Once the records are available inside this object, then we are going to be invoking this controller class, which will collect the records. It will be testing the functionality also. Now, let's see how can we test this functionality. So now currently my controller class code coverage is 0%. How can we test it now? Let's see. Go to the Apex test execution. Select that class. What is that class name? Show account records controller test. Click on run. Now it is running the test class. Now it has executed the test class. Now the test class is passed. Let's go to that actual class. Refresh the user interface. Now it is indicating this. We are having that 100% of code coverage. Okay, we are having 100% of code coverage is available for this Visualforce controller class. Now let's estimate the overall organization code coverage. Previously we have 16%. Now let's see. So again, we are having 16%. Only very few lines of code is available. So it is indicating still 16% of that code coverage is available. Okay, now let me place this code. Next, let me show you one more functionality here, one more last functionality. So as of now, inside my Visualforce page, I have collected all the records from the object, and then I'm going to be representing on the Visualforce page. But sometimes I need to design a Visualforce page which is used to search some records. I want to search for some records over here. At that time, how can we do that? How can we prepare the test class? Now let's see. I'm indicating this. Apex search account records page. Let me prepare this Visualforce page. Let me collect a Visualforce page code, which already we have discussed for the previous batch people to search for some account records. So now this is the piece of code is available in order to search for some account records information. Let me place this code. Set records controller. Controller equals to set records controller. Let me place this Visualforce page code. And the controller class also. So now my Visualforce page is ready. So this is a page. Whenever I'm entering few characters, then as soon as once you click on search accounts, what are the matching records are available, we can able to search those records over. We can able to search what are the account records are there, whose name is starting with the character some UN, those records we can able to represent. For example, I'm indicating like a some P. So in a single character, click on search accounts, it will return only those records whose last name is starting with the character some P. Once you click on this name, automatically record will be getting open for you. That record will be getting open. So this is the functionality we have implemented as part of this Visualforce. If I'm giving like a some P, what are the records are available whose name is starting with the character, those records you can able to see. If I'm indicating like a some M, now it is indicating that one record is available, this is the Manish Kumar record. Like that we can able to indicate. So now to implement this functionality, we have written some business logic over here, where what I'm doing, I'm not only collecting all the records, I'm going to passing some input values. I'm passing some input values. Based on these input values, we are going to be testing that functionality. Okay, we are testing that functionality. We have to supply some input. Then how to pass the input to our controller class? Now let's see practically in this case. So how to prepare a test class for the Visualforce controller, which is expecting some input value. So based on this input value only, it is searching for the content over here internally by using that wait class. This business logic part, you know, this is not new, but just we are going to be additionally using Visualforce, nothing but presentation only here. Now, let's see how can we do this. Let me prepare this use case. Prepare the test class for the Visualforce controller class, which is used to search for the accounts based on the search text. Based on the search text. Then, so what is the Visualforce page code? What is the controller class? And then test class. So let me place this code first inside our document. This is the controller class. This is the Visualforce page code. And then now we need to prepare the test class. We have to prepare the test class. Then how to prepare the test class? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, here what I'm doing inside this particular business logic, inside this user interface, already I'm having some account records inside my object. So now in that particular object, if I'm passing some specific characters, like some United, if I'm passing some characters, some United. So now once you click on search accounts button, based on these characters United, what are the records are available, those records I'm collecting and I'm going to represent. That means what? I am going to be collecting some records from that object. So already records are there. Now I'm searching. So here also upon testing this functionality, first of all, we have to create some records and then we have to pass some search characters over. So inside this search text variable, we are going to pass in these characters. What are the characters we have entered here? These characters will be storing inside my variable. So now we need to pass a value for this variable. And then automatically we can able to call this method. Now the method is going to searching that record automatically. Now let's see how can we do this. How to prepare the test class. What is my controller class? Search records controller. I'm preparing a test class. Search records controller test. I'm making it as private. I'm preparing this class as a test class. I'm preparing the test method, static test method, void test search controller. I'm preparing this method. So now here also, whenever if you want to search for that record, first of all, record should be there, right? Yes, here also we need to prepare some records. For that one, I would like to call the same method. I'm going to paste in the same method. Here also we need some account records. Okay. Here also we need some account records. Here also we need some account records. Now we need to create that records first, so that I'm inserting. Insert the account records. That means preparing test data. Preparing test data. So that I'm calling this. Once the test data is ready, then we can able to test that functionality. Test the controller class. How can we test the controller class? Now this is the controller class. Set records controller. Before that, let me verify. Now accounts controller equals to new set records controller. So in this case, what happened? This particular class is expecting one input value based on the search text. Only it is searching the data where name like search text. It is going to be adding that search text over there. It is expecting the input value. So we need to pass that value over here. So now supply the values. Supply the values. How to supply? Accounts controller dot search text. Search text, pass a value. I'm passing some value test, and then invoke that method. Invoke the controller. What is that method here? Accounts controller dot. We can able to invoke that method that is called as set account records. That's it. Over. That means what? First of all, we have to prepare the test data. Once the test data is ready, then invoke this method. But this method is what? It's a normal method. It's not a static method. It's a normal method. So if you want to call this method, we have to create the object of the class. So we have prepared that object of the class, and we are calling this method. But if I'm calling this method, then without any input value, how it will be searching that? For that one, we have to pass that search text. Where is the search text? This is the variable in which the search text value is available. Based on that, it is going to be comparing the content. So that we are passing the value search text equals to the string variable. I'm passing this value. Then we can able to invoke this method. Now, based on this input value, this method will be getting executed. It will be testing that functionality. That's it. Now, let's see. Let me go with this controller class. What is the code coverage right now? Search records control. Search records control. This is the actual business logic class. So for this business logic class, we are having the code coverage as 0%. And now let me open the test class also. This is the test class that we have, which we have prepared. This is the test class. So let me run this test class right. This is my actual business logic class, which is having 0% code coverage. Let me run this test class. My class name is search records controller. Search records controller test. Click on run. It is running my test class. My test class has been passed. Let's go to this user interface. Go to the controller class. Verify that code coverage. Now it is indicating that 100% code coverage is available for my controller class. So that we have to create the object of the class invoke that method. But upon invoking the method, inside that method, if we are having any input parameters, then we have to pass the values for those parameters also by using this variables. That's it. This is the way we have to follow the testing classes for your Visual Force Controller classes also. This is the concept of testing classes. Okay. And that already I have discussed with you. Whenever we are going to moving the code to the production, whenever we are going to moving the code to the production, compulsorily we have to maintain minimum 75% of the code coverage. That is a fundamental thing. Like that, we have to prepare the testing class for each and every controller class and then business logic class also, and then we are going to test it. Okay, if you are having 75% of the code coverage, then only we can able to move that code to the production. Now, here let me give you one small point. For example, today I am moving some collection of components to the production. In that collection of components, I'm having some Apex classes also, triggers also, batch classes, Visual Force controllers, everything is available. I'm moving into the production. So upon moving into the production, I'm having 80% of the code coverage. Salesforce is expecting 75, but I'm having 80%. But in this case, whenever we are going to moving the components to the production, compulsorily we have to maintain minimum 75% of the code coverage. Compulsorily, we have to maintain minimum 75% of the code coverage. That is the first rule. Next, the second one. Upon moving that code, upon moving some classes to that production, some classes may be having 0% code coverage also. No problem, it will accept. But overall, we should have 75%. Overall, we should have 75%. But few classes may be having 0% code coverage also, no problem. But upon moving the trigger to the production, okay, every trigger should have minimum 1% of the code coverage. Okay, every trigger should have minimum 1% of the code coverage. If the trigger is having 0% code coverage, even though you are having overall 80%, Salesforce won't allow the trigger. Trigger should have minimum 1% of the code coverage. So that is a fundamental principle. Okay, now here I'm indicating the note point. Each trigger should have minimum 1% of code coverage. Else, we can't deploy to production. We can't deploy to production. It's a fundamental principle of the testing classes. So that here, every class should be having some testing classes and the triggers, batch classes, and the whatever the classes we have implemented. For everything, we have to prepare the testing class. Overall, we have to maintain minimum 75, and for few classes, we can maintain the 0% also. But trigger should have minimum 1% of the code coverage. That is a fundamental principle. This is the way we are going to be creating the testing classes for your business logic concepts. Okay, this is the concept of testing classes. Tomorrow we'll see the concept of Visual Force pages. How to design the Visual Force pages, we'll see in tomorrow's session.
Sir, for scheduled classes?
Sorry?